He got problems, she got problems. Only I got 411 problems. Hey, hi, what's up, y'all? Welcome and welcome back to my channel. Welcome to a new vlog. Welcome to another Angel Reacts. I am Angel. Welcome to Vids of Angel. You're gonna hear the heater. I'm anemic. I'm a cold girl. I'm always cold, so you're gonna hear the heater. Sorry. But let's get into it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about optics. How did we get here? How did we get to the point where what it looks like on the outside is more important than what's happening on the inside? How did we get here? In my girl Deborah Cox's voice, how did we get here? How did we get here, y'all? How did we get here? How did we get here where it became so important on what it looks like instead of what it really is? And the lengths that y'all are willing to go to make it look like it's something that it's not is crazy. It's crazy and it's scary. And it's almost sad. No, it is sad. It's not almost. It is sad. Baby, well, how I got this party? 3. Let's get into it. So, let me say around the 90s, 80s, 90s, around that era, and things were different. I'm realizing how blessed I really was. Let me turn it on low because I feel like I'm yelling at y'all. I want to turn it off. Damn. I grew up in the 80s, 90s era, and things were different. Very, 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 very different. I love y'all, but I'm cold. I just don't want to yell, but I might have to. I'll adjust the sound later. Things were very different. And how we looked at things, it wasn't that important. Even when it came down to like Christmas, like we were excited for dinner. Like I guess for me, it was like, you know, the amount of gifts that was under the tree was more important than how much it costs. Meaning, you went and you got like stuff from the Dollar Tree, stuff from, you know what I'm saying, like you got stuff on clearance. You just got a bunch of toys. It didn't matter how much it cost. It was just waking up and seeing all these toys and stuff, and it looked like a winter wonderland, or a Santa's workshop where it's like, oh, Santa really came through, because at this point in time, like, we really believed in Santa Claus. So it was like, just to see all these toys, you didn't really care. Excuse me, you didn't really care about how much it cost. Sometimes that, and then I think like back then it was like you get one big gift, and then the rest it was like, you know what I'm saying? Like it was like these little small gifts. And then we also had a village. Y'all don't have a village anymore. We also had a village. So it was like when you would do your round, you do your rounds around Christmas time, baby, give me the money, give me the money. Baby, I had a bit. Hello, money calling. Like it was just a whole different ball game. I didn't notice like the change until I was in, I would say, high school, around 10th grade. And I think that was during the time when you wasn't, I think the first thing, I want to make sure I'm putting it in the right order. I think for the girl, I can't really say for the boys because I don't know. I can't really say for the boys. I know for the girls, the biggest thing was that pink ice ring. It was like if you didn't have a pink ice ring, you weren't top tier. You had to have a pink ice ring. It didn't matter what you had on. It didn't matter what you look like. If you had that pink ice ring, you was top tier. And then after the pink ice ring, it was the initial ring. And like you had in the initial ring, it had to have the heart. I think I just saw it on Shein, if I'm not mistaken. I think I saw it on Shein. Where it was, and I was like, oh my God, like it jogged my memory like that. And I was like, oh my God, like you had to have that. And it was like, it was the heart ring with your initial in it. Then it was the panda ring. It was a panda coin ring. Then after that, it was you had to have a starter jacket. It really didn't matter like your clothes, as long as you had a starter jacket in the winter and your shoes. Okay, side note. A lot of us had the Charlotte Hornets. This is when Charlotte, North Carolina had a professional basketball team. They had an NBA team. And the star player on the team was Larry Johnson. Larry Johnson his character was Grandmama, which was basically he had on a dress, sneakers, and a wig, but he used to dunk the basketball. And it's crazy how times change, because not one time did we question that man's sexuality. It was like we knew that was a character. We did not take the Grandmama character and put that on into his real life. Like we knew, like in the commercials, like the people who would sponsor him, Grandmama was like dunking. We knew it was him, but Grandmama was a character. We did not take Grandmama and put that on into his real life. Or even if that was the case, gay people was gay people, straight people was straight people. It did not matter. It wasn't a big deal. It was like your business is your business and my business is my business. Nobody really cared about that. No, nobody really cared. If they did, like it was oblivious to us, because at this point in time, like we were in high school, because it was so many people who had the starter jacket, and then so many people who had Grandmama up on their walls, because we knew, like it was like, oh, this, we knew it was him, but it was like a grandma, old lady dunking on these people. Oh, where is Larry Johnson? Like, Charlotte don't even have don't even have an NBA team no more. Or do they? I don't know. But anyway, that was like what I'm putting in here is everything that I had. The only thing that I did not have was the pink ice. Did I have the pink ice? No, I did. I had the pink ice. Everything that was popular, I had. Yeah. So I'm putting in pictures of what I had. So I had 2 starter jackets. I had the Charlotte Hornet ones, and I think I had a LA Raider one. Because the Raiders was like big time then too. And it was like, never mind. During this time, like as long as you got if you got shoes from East Bay from the magazine, you was top tier. That I was able to get over with because my feet are very, very small because I'm very short. So my feet are very small. I can wear a 2.5. At this point in time, I wear a 2.5 in kids. My feet grew. I used to wear a size 1 in kids. So when Jordans was coming out, Jordans for me was $25. Brand new. But for the bigger size people, Jordans was no more than $50 to $100. And that was brand new in the store. There was no long lines, no nothing like that. You could just walk in the store and be like, yo, I want these shoes. It was nothing like a ticket like y'all do. None of that. The same shoes that y'all are buying now I had almost every pair, and I paid no more than $50 for them. Real talk. So like to sit back and see how much I pay for it, even like now, like I used to go to Burlington and be like, let me go get me some shoes, $19.99, because Burlington used to have a nice little selection, especially in my size. Like I can go and get Nautica, Nike, Tommy. I can pick and choose what I wanted. Now they really don't have that much anymore. But before I could. But let me get back to high school. So as long as you had a starter jacket, and your shoes came from East Bay, and during this time, the Dion's was real hot. And of course it was like the red, white, and gold ones. But I always like to be different and step out. And then because my feet were small, I can get whatever. So I got the turquoise ones. Man. So you had to have a starter jacket. Your shoes had to be on point. And it needed to be like the latest so-called. So if you had Jordans, or even if it was Nikes, it was cool. But if you were wearing Dion's, and at this point in time, Fila was we call them Filas back then, but Fila was big time then too. And so if you had, and they were Grant Hills. So if you had the Grant Hills, you were big time. So again, my feet were small, so I could get every shoe. So I could switch it up. Like I had it was like this it's not called, what is it called? Memo cards. I had a memo card, but it was like a book. So I can write down what I wore because I'm short and I didn't grow. So every time I would go school clothes shopping, I just add on to my collection. So I can rotate clothes. I can rotate shoes. So I had to write down like, okay, I wore this. So I'm not gonna wear this. Like, and one of my homegirls, she was like, you write down what you wear. And I was like, girl, I don't grow. I can rotate my clothes. I can switch it up, which I could. Like, real talk. If how many storages I lost, y'all. Ooh, if I could go back and get my shoes and get the girl. Anyway, my shoe collection would be so on point. My shoe collection is like that now, but it's so crazy. Cause I love sneakers, but me getting older, baby, I'll slide my feet in these Cricks, which is the Crocs that I get from Shoeland. Quick, fast, in a hurry. Who? Because the prices that y'all pay for sneakers is crazy, and I'm just not doing it because I'm cheap. Anyway, what else? And the other major thing was you had to have a watch, and it had to be a Disney or a Looney Tune character, and it had to play music. And I didn't realize how serious it was until they started unaliving each other for Jordan shoes. When I started seeing that on the news, it was kind of, scary. And as I told y'all, like, if you pay attention to my channel, if you're not new here and you pay attention to my story times, like, I'll tell you, you hear me say, like, my mom talked to me. My mom explained things. And so when it came down to when they started unaliving each other for Jordans, she was like, we got to talk, about shoes. And I was like, Mom, that's in the city. We in the country. Ain't nobody doing that. Ain't nobody doing that here. Which they wasn't. Like, the country we were more of competition on what you wear, not we about to take your stuff because then it's a small town. Like, baby, we gonna know it's you. We gonna know it's you. We gonna know it's you. Like, and we didn't mind like getting the fake stuff. So a lot of the times we would go to the flea market in the neighboring city that was like 45 minutes away. We'll go to the flea market and go get like the name brand stuff. So like how much y'all pay for MCM now, baby, we was paying like $20. So it was like the amount of money that I see people pay for MCM now, I'd be like, I think I'm gonna edit that out. I'm gonna edit that out. Anyway, yeah, like we would go to the flea market to go get MCM, to go get Louis Vuitton, to go get those things. I had a Louis Vuitton carry pouch, like it was a little pouch in 5th grade. It was fake as all get out, but it didn't matter. Like, literally, we would walk around and people would be like, oh, it's cute. Like, it wouldn't be like, girl, that's fake. Get that out of here. It would be like, oh, that's cute. That's cute. Where you get that from? You went to the flea market? Yeah, I went to this booth. This is the dude that I talked to. He had like purses, wallets. I still to this day haven't seen a pouch like that. They stole it from me at school. I left it under my desk and they stole it with my money in it. If I ever find out who that was, I'm coming for you. Cause I want my money more than I wanted the pouch. Cause the pouch was $15. But I wanted my money. Because I'm a Capricorn, baby. We will stretch $10. And at that point, it sounded like I had money. I was getting an allowance. Baby, give me my money. And they would never wear it to school because I was the only girl who had it. So you couldn't bring it to school, which is why I would tell my mom, like, don't worry about it. But how did we get here? How did we get to the point where us who grew up with cell phones, who grew up without cell phones, is what I meant to say, who grew up without cell phones, we grew up with pagers, we grew up without internet. Why is it so important now of what the internet thinks? Why is it so important now what the internet thinks? We didn't even have internet. We didn't have cell phones. We had none of this stuff. We was cool with a bowl of cereal, sitting in front of the TV watching cartoons. And even after we grew out of that, we was cool with riding our bicycles, hanging out in one spot, laughing and talking. How did we get here? How did we get to the point where the internet is so important? You're willing to stretch a lie so far or even ruin your life for the optics, the aesthetic. How did that get so important? How did we get here? How did we get here? How did you get to the point where, how did we get to the point where, like, it doesn't matter where you are and nobody, it doesn't matter where you are, who is around you. It's like, no matter what, I'm going to get this shot. When I'm vlogging in the store, I try to go early where it's not a lot of people. But even when somebody is passing me, I turn my phone down because everybody don't want to be seen. Everybody don't want to be on camera. And I'm cool with that. Don't flip on me like you was cool with it, and then all of a sudden because somebody else say they not cool, now you not cool. Don't flip on me. But if you tell me like, yeah, I don't want to be on camera, like, I'm cool with respecting that. But a lot of times if I'm in a public place, I go in a corner where I'm by myself, so nobody else is on camera. I saw a young lady in a restaurant where it's dim light and they tell you no flash, no ring lights, like, you know, be respectful. And she turned on her ring light, that the portable ring light that you put on your phone. And the dude was like, "Excuse me?" And so she was like, "He a hater. I'm just trying to get a picture. This is for my vlog." And I was like, "Girl, they tell you not to turn on your flash. I get it. You need to get your vlog stuff, but you also have to be respectful, especially if they telling you you can't record in here. You can't record in here." How did we get here to the point where the optics is so important that we gotta lie, steal, sometimes unallow people to keep the optics and the aesthetic going? Y'all, so we need a cell phone. I really didn't watch the Real Housewives like that. Like, I stopped years ago because they had got to the point where all they was doing was screaming over each other, and I did not want to hear it. To be totally honest, it was like there's nothing, no entertainment, no actual conversation. It was, I got more money than you, I look better than you, my surgery look better than you, your marriage is a lie, etc., etc. And I was like, oh my god, like, it was just, it no longer interests me. Well, I started watching in the beginning when Nene, before surgery, and it's her money, she can do what she want to do. Before surgery, and Nene and Kim were really, really close. Kim was dating Big Papa, so Kim was a side chick. He was married, but he was financing that girl life. And then she had, at this time, was thinking about doing her wig line. She was wearing her wigs or whatever. I remember watching when they went to it was like a formal or a fundraiser or something, and when she saw Croy and she kept talking about his butt and how she was introduced to him. And even fast forward to later, now they are no longer together or they're back and forth. But the optics for that, you had shows on TV. And I think my first time for her was when Candy was like, the business part wasn't handled with her. And I was like, oh, because you did Don't Be Tardy for the Party. And then Candy wanted her to do another song. and she wasn't feeling the song. She was like, yeah, nah. I think she had kind of ghost Candy because like the beginning of the song, a lot of us didn't like it because it was like, whoa, the ring doesn't mean nothing. We was like, nah, Candy. We was on Kim's side. We didn't feel that. So I was watching during that era. So even now, it's fast forward. When she had all these shows, she had her own show. Her and Nene fell out, fell out with everybody else. Who was that? That Sheree had already put, like, adjusted her wig a little bit. and your house not paid for. Your daughter is on her own reality show. She's grown now. And saying how, every time you blowing up her phone, you asking her for money. To the point where it was messing up her relationship. And I saw a clip. I didn't watch that reality show, but it was like, girl, like it came out in the news and you was like, oh, they're lying. Like you were going above and beyond to keep the house. And it was like, girl, what did you do with your money? So I didn't watch Real Housewives of Potomac because I had stopped watching Real Housewives of Atlanta. It just no longer interests me. But listening to y'all and reading up and then watching like news clips, this young lady, Wendy, when that man said the actors, I died laughing because it was like, well, yeah, because if you scamming, you acting like you got money. And listening to y'all who actually watched the show, and it was like she kept throwing up my degrees, my degrees, my degrees. He's a lawyer. The husband is a lawyer. You're a professor. Well, was a professor. And you was getting paid for the show. You was spending more money than what needed to be. For what reason though, I couldn't understand, because you had already did like the major accomplishment, especially for black people, being on TV, making a large sum of money. It don't even have to be like a million every 2 seconds, but making a large sum of money. You had already went to school. You had already, you know what I'm saying? You had did major accomplishments when it came down to African Americans. You're on TV. You're living this life of luxury, because luxury for African Americans is, it just has to be obtained because of course Caucasians flaunt that to make them feel like they're better than African Americans. And then now that y'all getting it, it's crazy because I don't know why y'all still going hard about luxury, and the Chinese people done told y'all. I told y'all, you better head to DH Gate. I told y'all they was all made in the same factory. They just changed the price when they put them on the shelf, depending on whose whose tag they sewing on. I told y'all that. Told y'all. I told my son that. Because even when he was in high school, he was saying how I want the Jordans, or I want this, or I want this, because he was looking at this one popular boy, and I was like, Ty, you don't know what they're doing to keep up the name brand stuff. And he was like, well, he got all the shoes. Like, I want that. I want that. And I was like, be grateful for what you have. Because I used to go to Burlington. It was either Burlington or TJ Maxx. And I'll go get his school clothes. They was name brand, but I wasn't spending crazy amount of money. But he wanted, like the Jordans and everything. And I was like, nah, I'm not doing that, because he was hard on shoes. And come to find out, the little boy that he wanted to be like, who had the Jordans all the time, and he went home and all that stuff was on the curb. He got evicted. So the optics, you were coming to school and you had all these shoes, but they weren't paying the rent, which is why I'm very grateful my grandmother instilled in me when I was younger. Do not be jealous of what somebody else got going on, because you don't know what it takes to get it and what they got to do to keep it. So why did you feel like you needed to scam Wendy when you had already accomplished so much? Even when it comes down to relationships, and I know y'all be like, white women, white women is better, and they have the ideal life, they have the perfect relationships, they just, white women get loved on better. And I beg to differ. To be totally honest. Let's take Reese Witherspoon. Not Reese Witherspoon. I was gonna talk about her, but we don't have she not really going in depth. Denise Richards. So this latest divorce, basically, well, starting a divorce, she was saying like, in this marriage, I think they only been married for like what, 5 or 6 months. That's stupid. I don't know. They've been married for a while. They got married in 2018. Why they made it seem like, oh, the time that they had met each other, I think it was 5 to 6 months, and then they got married. So they got married in 2018. But she was basically saying like all this time, like even with them being on TV, like he was abusive behind closed doors. Through tears, he's almost killed me so many damn times. It's not funny. What I'm thinking about is I watched Nightline. And he walked up and they was asking him questions and they was like, are you here to defend yourself? And he was like, yeah, I'm here to clear up my family name. I think it's just been, for me, a waste of time. And I was like, what? Your family name is more important than you clearing up the fact that this lady put pictures out of her eyes being black and blue. And entering this photo into evidence. And then there's a clip where and she was on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, if I'm not mistaken. And she was telling him not to say anything because he was angry and arguing with somebody else. And she was telling him not to say anything. She was like, it's only gonna get worse. Like, honey, just stop talking. And he was like, if you tell me what to do one more time, you talk to me like that one more time, I'm gonna squeeze your hand. And I was like, white women are pushed harder to put out this perfect optic on the internet where my life is just so much better and I just have so much money and have so much opportunity than you, and my husband loves me and they cannot stand any other woman but me. They love the ground that I walk on. I have blonde hair and blue eyes, and no. Behind closed doors, they have it worse. And I love the fact that the Again story that I'm reviewing, Monster, it showed that. Episode 6 showed the woman's perspective of what was going on back then around the 1950s. Where they show and prove that during those times, you were nothing without a man. And still believe to this day that you're nothing without a man. And which is why it's indoctrinated. Like, you need to get married, you need to get married, you need to get married, you need a husband. And as I said in that review, just because you have a husband, it doesn't mean that you're safe. Clearly. Look at this lady eye. How long had he been saying crazy stuff to you and doing stuff to you, and behind closed doors, you are afraid, but in front of the cameras, red carpet, and anytime, and even on the Real Housewives, it's the perfect marriage and I'm happy and I'm okay. When did the optics become so important that you are willing to live in misery? I just want to know, at what cost? How long are y'all willing to continue to go down this hole? And it's getting worse because of AI. Like, seeing people use loved ones who have passed away, especially Martin Luther King. Jesus, y'all were upset that Bernice King agreed with Robin Williams' daughter because y'all were sending her stuff too, and she was like, stop doing it. Y'all don't realize like that hurts? Like, it hurts because you have fantasized an actor and you put your AI spin on it. You send it to their actual loved one, their actual relative, thinking you're doing something amazing, and they're saying, please stop sending this. Bernice King agreed and y'all were mad. And these are the same people, I'm pretty sure, who was upset when we were saying, baby, we don't even know who Charlie Kirk is. Who was trying to silence Jimmy Fallon for saying how Trump was using that man's passing and really wasn't paying it any attention because he was telling y'all to look at another whole another building. Gotcha. The optics. The president who presented himself like, oh, I'm gonna do this, this, and this, and this for you. Gotcha. We told y'all. How y'all didn't learn from the first time he was in office, I don't know. But the optics. Him telling y'all, oh, we're only cutting Democratic programs, and the programs that's being cut, especially for farmers, y'all are Republicans, right? Oh, they don't want to concede because they want to give undocumented immigrants insurance. Now, when you go to fill out insurance, because I've been in healthcare for a long time, I'm pretty sure you have to have an ID and you have to have a social security number to get insurance. So how is an undocumented immigrant going to get insurance when you have to have proof? You have to have an address. You have to have an ID. You have to have a social security number. And the simple fact that y'all hype that stuff up, the optics of it, like y'all are so blind to what he's doing. But yet he's allowing immigrants to build a military base because they gave him a plane. Destroying the other part of the White House, so he can build a ballroom. Why do you need a ballroom? Destroying the White House for a ballroom of a place that you're supposed to get out in 3 years. The optics have become so important that we will hurt ourselves to deny the truth. When it's right there in our face. It is very, very scary during this time. Very, very scary to look and see the jokes of, oh, look, no kings at work because we don't have a king. And the fact that you think that you're going to be exempt because you are Caucasian, you are very sadly mistaken. Because you can afford groceries just like we can. Your programs have been cut. Your food stamps has been cut just like ours. And I don't even get food stamps. My point is, he keeps saying Democratic programs and they're not coming back, but everybody is being affected. Republicans as well, which is why they're saying something. What he uses is the right terms and the right optics to pull you in. It's a lie to you. It's very interesting, entertaining, and scary all at the same time. Because it's like y'all know, but don't want to say nothing. So you wait to crash and burn. Okay. Anyway, I just wanted to, I guess more of a TED talk. I'm just standing on the soapbox and it's like, how did we get here? Even in in the Again story, it was the part when he was talking about President Nixon and he was saying he's lying and he's lying and saying everything is fine and you can look around and see the whole world is on fire. And he's saying everything is calm and beautiful and peaceful. How long are y'all going to pretend like the optics are not warning y'all? Like the pretending and the optics and the aesthetic is so important that you can't see the real things that's going on. How long are y'all willing to pretend that this is going to work when clearly it's not working? I don't know. I guess I'm just gonna have to wait and see and find out. Be careful. Learn to live in your truth. It can't be that bad of a sight. Learn to live in your truth. Why do you feel like you need to lie to get to a place or to be approved by people who probably not gonna pay you no attention anyway? Mm. I hope soon we get a better vision. I love you the most because you're definitely the dopest in real life. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.